the biggest thing that you're really dealing with when it comes to taking your studio to the next level is the way you're approaching the resources that you do have. I hear so many game studios and indie developers talk about the fact that they don't have the resources to, um, you know, get to that level of AAA. And it's like, to some degree, that's absolutely true, right? You probably don't have a dev team of 16. You don't have a multi-million dollar marketing budget, right? You don't have maybe some of the things that you feel like are necessary to get to that level. But the truth is, with the advent of AI, with the advent of automation, there are so many ways when you can truly begin to build a brand around your studio without needing all the resources, right? And so today, what I want to sit and talk about is ultimately different ways that you can actually take your studio to the next level. But it starts with a mindset, right? Like, we have to get out of the mindset that if we have a small studio, we are limited to doing small things, right? With the advent of ChatGPT, with websites like AI Contentive, Notion, Mind Studio, it's fairly simple for us to build systems that allow us to output levels of content, material, brand reputation that can take us to the next level, right? But here's the thing, you don't know what you don't know. And so today, I really want to spend a bit of time talking about some ways that you can begin to maximize how you are sending and spending your time, your content, your material, and taking your studio to the next level. So let's talk a little bit about ultimately what you're currently doing, right? If you are not making content because you feel like it is way too much of a time thing, way too much of a restriction, and you don't have enough time in the middle of developing or whatever it is that you're doing, well, let's just take some time and acknowledge the fact that that's a limiting belief, right? That's not really true, because there are 16,000 AI blog generators on the internet that you can use to generate content. And if the initial response to that is, well, they can't put content out in the arena or the way that I speak and talk, that's also not true, right? Because you could easily go into ChatGPT and train it with the way you talk. I have people do this all the time. You can literally go in and share conversations that you've had with other people and have it note how to understand how you talk, how you think, how you move, what your tonality, your inflection is like, and then generate content around that. And so at Reality Hacker Studios, we're actually building an engine that will allow you to generate endless amounts of content that speaks directly in your voice, in your brand, and in your tone, right? Which for most people solves the problem of content because it eliminates the integrity problem, right? Well, I'm not worried about content now coming out that doesn't sound like me and sounds artificial and sounds superficial, because I've trained this thing to speak in the way that I speak. And on top of that, you can have protocols in place ensuring that anything that comes out is verifiable, it is irrefutable. And this is so important here, man. Like, getting to that next level in your business isn't just about putting out the next game. It's about thinking at that next level, right? I want you to let's do a thought exercise for a second. And let's say that you were at the level that you wanted to be at in your studio, okay? And this is something that we do all the time in our own studio, is we go to the top, right? We look at our aspirations and we reverse engineer. And will we be able to reverse engineer that AAA Destiny style game right now? Probably not, but there's a lot of things that I can reverse engineer. So for example, if your studio at its optimal function is producing content every day, is bringing in new players, is retaining consistency and committed players, is driving revenue through games and maybe other sources or products, like, we can begin to reverse engineer that, right? So content, a staple in any brand being built, there's a million different ways that you can start outputting and putting a content engine together that allows you to be able to post consistently, whether it's on YouTube, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, without burning yourself out. Like, this now becomes about how are you structuring your time, right? When it's Sunday and you're not developing, are you spending time focusing on that content engine so that you can have your content ready to go for the week, and you're not necessarily needing to be overwhelmed by that mentally while continuing to work on your game? Well, the answer is yes, you absolutely can, right? Through a combination of AI generation, through social media automation like Hootsuite, you can set up all of your content on a Sunday afternoon for the entire week to go out, right? And whether you want to schedule it in advance or just have it at the ready, we have enough tools today for you to begin to build that. Okay. Well, let's say that, another one of those ideas of what your studio looks like at optimal function is player retention, is player excitement about your world. Well, here's the thing that to me comes down to, how are you advertising? How are you bringing people in, right? What are you prefacing the player experience with? And this is where we got to begin to think horizontally, right? Like a lot of people just send people to a Steam wishlist page or a list on the App Store. I've been there, I've done it, right? But let's look at that a little bit differently, okay? Have you built out a game funnel, right? If you look at like Fallout New London, an expansion for Fallout, right? They have a whole sales page dedicated to the New London expansion. Are you building funnels and sales pages for your game? Because here's the thing, with your studio running at optimal capacity, what you're looking at there is you're looking at it running as a business rather than a freelancing gig, okay? This is where you have to begin to mentally look at living from a new level, because the reality is you're not going to create beyond what's going on in here, right? So the first step here is beginning to think bigger. Okay, how would my studio operate if it was on that level? Well, I'd be putting out content every day. Well, I'd be having opportunities for players to have alternative experiences with my game world outside of the game itself, right? That looks like game funnels. That looks like blog content engines. That looks like, dude, you could build stories on YouTube around the characters of your game. You could do backstories. You could build comics, right? With our Codebreaker series, our Codebreaker universe, which is what almost all of our games revolve around, the Codebreaker universe is not limited to the games that we have. We have a whole universe that we've built. We have comic books that are lined up. We have characters. We have antagonists. We have protagonists that we're building worlds around so that people can actually be immersed in the worlds that we are creating, right? So the question is, how can you begin to think from the place of being that successful studio? Do you have all the resources that you need? Probably not. But there's enough tools around on the internet for you to begin taking that next step, begin building that next level of what your studio looks like. So my encouragement today, my invitation for you is to begin to think about what you can do right now to increase your output by leveraging automation, by leveraging AI. We're not talking about leveraging AI to design your assets. We're talking about leverage AI to automate your workflows, automate content creation, automate customer experiences, right? Taking it and making it so that you can spend more time developing great games while automating primarily a lot of the things that have to be done as a result of actually being a business, right? Because if you're really committed to taking your studio to that level, you've got to stop looking at it as a hobby. You have to start looking at it as a business, okay? So again, how many ways are you inundating your player base with your world, with your game worlds, right? How often are you reaching your players outside of your game? Do you have an email list? Do you have social media that people are following devlogs on? Like, are you giving people the opportunity to become invested in your game? And here's the thing, sometimes we have these limiting beliefs that create that lack of behavior. And for most of us, that limiting belief is we're afraid of rejection. We're afraid of this thing not working out. Therefore, when we don't realize this because our brains function insanely quickly, that fear of rejection, that fear of not being successful actually drives us to not do those day-to-day things that need to be done that lead to our success, right? Dude, this is all about first mentally getting to a new level, emotionally getting to a new level, and then beginning to take action. Listen, you have to begin to redefine your relationship with failure. You're going to fail a million different times, right? I have failed a million different times, and that's exactly why I've been able to build the global brands that I've built, is because I'm constantly failing. But failing is not some indication of my worth. It's an indication of the fact that I'm learning, okay? Like, did you get 2 + 2 right the first time you learned addition? No, you didn't, right? You learn to read, you learn math, you learn through failure, you learn through doing it wrong. So here's the thing, right? If you're dealing with that analysis paralysis, the best way to get rid of that is to take action and fail brilliantly. Because all the data that you think you need in order to move forward is going to come through taking action and failing. And I know it sucks. Well, I can't afford to fail. Why? Because I'm going to have to go back and get a job. Okay, cool. Awesome. if this is something you truly want to take to that next level, you'll be willing to do whatever it takes. And this is something that I cannot express enough about, okay? So as we continue to move our studios forward, let's focus on finding ways to really think about this as a business, not a hobby, and look at the things that we can start doing to automate the tasks that need to be done with efficiency and pizzazz, and begin to treat our daily actions as though they are the actions of a successful studio. Again, how are you getting players invested in your worlds, right? Is the only time players have a chance to find your players or find your characters, find your world building in your game? Are you giving them other opportunities to learn about that, right? This is where we begin to take a bigger look at the things that we're doing and optimize. And if you need help, dude, we've got a full free school community for you, right? You can join our school community, get access to resources on SEO, on advertising, on literally fake, dude, I've spent millions of dollars on Facebook and Instagram ads. Come learn, right? We do this for free. We want to help you actually step into the place of being a studio owner, not just a freelancer hobbyist. And to do that, you have to learn some new things. And that also means you have to fail a little bit. And that's great. That's awesome. Because you're not going to get judged from me. You're not going to get judged from Zach, the other owner of Reality Hacker Studios, right? You're not going to get that with us. So I encourage you to make today the day you begin to start believing in the greater vision of why you did this in the first place, right? Begin to think horizontally about how you approach your studio. Are you giving people a chance to get to know your games? Are you saturating the marketplace in content that makes you the first searchable option on Google when people type in certain keywords, right? Are you standing out through creating unique methods of automating the stuff that has to be done when you begin to look at your studio as a business? You're so powerful. You're so capable. Man, and if you're looking for something to get a hold of today, we're going to be releasing a full-scale player magnet blueprint that's going to help you retain players, boost your revenue, and save your time. Because that's the goal here. We want to do what we love. We want people to love what we're doing. We want to make money doing it. And if you don't want to make money building your games, that's cool. This probably isn't for you, right? But if you want to, then this is for you. But ultimately saving your time, right? Because again, we're starting to look at this like a business with multiple operations, right? We've got marketing. We've got market saturation. We've got lead generation. We've got the sale, right? This is where you begin to look at your studio as a business, okay? So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Where are you struggling? Post it in the comments there, dude. We can go back and forth. We can workshop. We are here to support you. I'm super grateful that you've taken the time to watch this video today. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you guys soon.